How to reach 7-figure revenues as a consultant with my man, Russ Ruffino. So for those folks who don't know who Russ Ruffino is, he is the founder and creator of Clients on Demand. And it's a system, and it's the most reliable client attraction system in the world. And he's helped thousands of entrepreneurs around the globe sell millions of dollars worth of their products and service. And I have the joy of working and having a conversation with my man, Russ, today. Russ, what is going on, my friend?
How's it going, my man?
Dude, I'm having a blast. I just got back from Spain, Italy, and France for 11 days.
Wow.
So I am fired up, and I am ready to get back to work here. So you were one of the first interviews that I had as I came back, and I said, what a guy to have on the show. So for those folks who don't know who Russ is, I've been following you for quite some time, and I know we've had conversations in the past here and there on Facebook, back and forth. You're no spring chicken when it comes to this stuff, but there's probably a good portion of my audience that don't know who you are. So I wanted to sort of have you introduce yourself and share with us, how you got started and how you turned your business into, what is it now, an 8-figure business?
Yeah. We did, 15 million last year. So I guess it is an 8-figure business.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Good times. No, it's not easy building an 8-figure business. Okay. Don't believe the hype.
So talk to us. How'd you get started and why'd you get started in the first place? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, when I originally got into online marketing, I had, been bartending in Los Angeles for like 10 years. Grew up in Orange County, moved to LA, and had dreams of becoming an actor. And so like for a full decade and then some, probably 15 years, I was in LA doing, acting, which basically means you're a professional bartender, unless you really just crush it. And I remember turned 30. So this would be almost exactly 10 years ago, right? So I'm turning 40 in like 2 weeks, right? So it's almost exactly 10 years ago, I turned 30, and I was just like, where's my life going? This isn't working out. I don't know if I can pour another drink without wanting to like jump off a cliff or whatever. So kind of two sort of interesting things happened at the same time. One day I'm behind the bar and this kid comes in, and it was actually the brother of a guitarist that I worked with. I was a lead singer of an 80s cover band, actually. and my guitarist's little brother came in, and he was just talking about like, oh, dude, what recession, baby? I'm crushing it. I'm making this much money. I'm making that much money. And I was like, what is this kid doing? And it turned out, he was doing some online stuff. He was doing some affiliate marketing stuff. And I never heard of any of those things. Right. And so that kind of made me go, wait a minute, man. If this kid can do this stuff, maybe I gotta look into this. It made me really curious. And then the second thing that happened was I happened to be on break one day, walked into Barnes & Noble. Sitting right there was the 4-Hour Work Week. So I picked up the book. I read it. And that was what really introduced me to this whole idea of online entrepreneurship, which had just never even occurred to me before. I didn't even know it existed. And so long story short, I just dove right in, started doing affiliate marketing, started creating info products, trying to sell info products, different video courses, ebooks, and whatever. And I think I did like $250,000 my very first year.
Okay.
So I quit bartending. That was obviously life-changing. And that sent me on this whole trajectory of doing what I think a lot of coaches and consultants, thought leaders do, which is to do information marketing. And so I was doing launches and selling ebooks and selling videos and stuff. And that was great for a few years. But after a while, I started checking in with the people who were buying my stuff, and the reviews were always good. People were always happy. And I would do these launches. I would sell thousands of copies of whatever it was. And then I would check up with people and I would say, hey man, you said you loved that video course that I sold you. And they're like, oh yeah, it's awesome. Okay, great. What'd you do with it, man? Tell me about, how'd you put it into practice? And it was like, oh yeah, no, I'll get to it. I just bought something else from another launch, and I'm gonna get to this, and then I got to catch up on some other stuff, and then I'll get to that. And so anyway, over time, I realized like, yes, I'm making money. Yes, I'm selling stuff. Yes, people are buying my stuff, and yes, people like my stuff. But not very many people were actually taking action. You know what I mean? Not many people were actually getting results. I started to think to myself, man, like what am I doing this for? I'm having a good time. I've created all this freedom. Thank God I'm not pouring drinks anymore. But I really wanted to make a difference. And so I thought to myself, instead of selling something for $97, let's say, or $200, or even maybe $1,000 and trying to sell thousands of copies of it, what if I flipped this whole model on its head and started charging $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 to work with me and worked with fewer people? And what would happen then? And I realized my guess was if I did that, people would be paying a high price so that they would be super committed, that I figured I would attract like the best people. I could work with fewer clients and make more money. And I could really go crazy, giving them a true VIP experience and really actually try to get them the result this time, the real transformation. And as soon as I did that, I swear my income went from about $20,000 a month to about $200,000 a month almost immediately. Client results went through the roof, and my whole business became a lot more free, more fulfilling, and it was just a huge win across the board. And so what I teach my clients now, who are coaches and consultants and thought leaders, is how do you create that signature high ticket transformational program that really gets people results? And then how do you sell that consistently, even when no one knows who you are?
That is beautiful. I went through very, very, very similar story. And I think that's what brought me to you so quickly. I was a designer 10 years ago. It's going on 13 years ago. And I was this churn and burn guy. I mean, I had some big clients, and my first year I did 248,000. So it's funny. I hear you say 250. It's almost at $1.
Almost the exact.
Almost exactly the same. And so I hear this and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is like a spitting image of me. And so I went through those things. I tried to sell those ebooks. I tried to do all of that. And I feel like it's like a rite of passage, right? And then you finally get to a point where you feel like you're spinning your wheels because you're like, all right, I got to sell a gazillion of these things to hit these numbers. This isn't sustainable. I can't see me doing this any further. So I did exactly the same thing. I got some coaching, I got some help, and I started charging $10,000, $15,000, $80,000, $100,000 for these projects. And what I realized was I should have been doing that all along, but I didn't have the confidence to do it. And I feel like that is where a lot of people, a lot of solopreneurs get tripped up. And they kind of stay in this like stagnated water for like years until something really bad happens. Right. And then they start reaching out and saying, oh, I need to change. Otherwise, it's like when somebody has their first heart attack, right? Oh, now I got to change my diet. So my question for you is, and the one thing I really like about you, Russ, is that you're very similar to me. You're a no bullshit kind of guy, and you just tell it how it is. And I really, really appreciate that. And it was so easy to book this interview with you today too. And so you don't act like you're high on this ivory tower, right? Like you can't touch me like some of these other guys that I try to reach out to. So for the consultants and the thought leaders and the solopreneurs that listen to my show, what can you tell them about taking their business from, say, $10,000 or $15,000 a month to actually getting to that 7-figure mark, and what goes into that? Because I feel like a lot of the folks are just like I was at one point, and I still am. I don't know everything. Lost.
Okay. Well, you have to start with that signature high ticket offer, like I talked about. And so let's just say, for example, that maybe the people listening to the show are like, dude, Russ, I could never charge $10,000. All right. Well, let's just say, fine, you're going to charge 5, right? So now it's like, all right, we want to craft something that's transformational, right? So it makes a huge impact on the people that you work with. And we want to charge $5,000 for it. Well, what we've done right there, just in that one simple decision, is now you have the power of math on your side. Because if you can take a big income goal and you can divide that by your price, and now you know the number of clients you need. So for example, let's say you want to get to $100,000 a month, just to make the math easy, right? That's $100,000 a month, $1.2 million a year. It's a pretty good business for a solo coach consultant without a big team, right? And you have a $5,000 offer. Well, now you need what? You need 20 new people a month to enroll in that thing. And so then you go, okay, well, that's like one person every other day, basically. Okay, great. So how can I make that happen? And so that's really what we do with our clients is the first thing we do is get you clear on, okay, well, what is that magic? What is that transformational outcome that you provide? And then what is it worth for people to have that outcome? Is it 3,000 or 5,000 or 10,000? What is it? And then how can you deploy a marketing machine that sells that thing consistently on autopilot? And what's great about this is that you can get that to $100,000 a month. You can get it to $200,000 a month, $300,000 a month, $400,000 a month, up to where we are now, which is like $1 million, $1.5 million a month, basically using that same essential process where it's like you've got that one high ticket signature offer, and that's what you lead with. You don't waste anybody's time selling them an ebook or selling them, a $47 video course or teaser or tripwire or whatever you want to call it. You go right to that high ticket sale because that's what they're looking for. You know, if let's just say, for example, you're a relationship coach and you can help people save their marriage, right? It's like someone's marriage is literally falling apart where they're, staring down the barrel of getting divorced or something like that, which is a heavy situation, a tough situation to be in. And you can turn that around. You can work with that couple and you can actually get them talking again, get the fighting dealt with and fix that. It's like, what is that worth? That is priceless. It's priceless. It's life-changing. So if I'm looking for someone to help me do that, who am I going to trust? Am I going to trust somebody that's selling a $27 ebook? Right? Or am I going to trust somebody that's saying, no, look, it's $8,000, but man, we will work together for the next 8 weeks. And I promise you, you will not recognize your marriage when we're done. It's like such an easier decision for me to make because it's like, yeah, that's what it should cost because I understand what I'm buying.
And what does that do for your brand positioning and posture? You know, when you come to market as more of the premium choice.
Yeah, sure. Well, so it's all based on that outcome, right? And this is the mistake, I think, as far as branding. I think this is the mistake that people make. People either try to position themselves as hire me because I'm cool. And that's all of that like celebrity branding and sort of like, I heard somebody the other day call it bro marketing. And I thought that was just awesome. Hire me because I've got the car and I've got this and I, rented this private jet for a day and hire me, So people are either trying to do that where it's like, hire me because I'm just super cool and you want to be like me. Or people are doing, hire me because I have such and such certification. You see that a lot. Hire me because I have a PhD or I have a bunch of letters after my name, or I got certified in such and such a method. The truth is your audience doesn't really care about any of that stuff. They don't care about how cool you are and they don't care about where you got certified. All they care about is what you can do for them.
Period.
And that's all they're interested in is that outcome. They want that outcome. They're 80 pounds overweight. They want to get in shape. That's their outcome. Their marriage isn't working out. They want you to fix it. That's the outcome. And so what's awesome about this is that instead of having to make yourself look cool, all of your branding can be positioned around, hey, you know what? Here's what I can do for you.
Right.
And that speaks to people right where they're at.
Yes.
And once I understand that outcome and I know what I'm buying, now I'm not afraid to pay that premium price. It actually reassures me that you're charging that premium price because, hey, if this is what I'm buying, if I'm buying a saved marriage, it's like that should cost $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000. It's like, how could it not cost that much? And if you're going to tell me you're going to do that for me for $50, I'm just not going to believe you.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's great about this is like, when you start doing this, eventually you sort of become known as the premium solution and sort of the Rolls Royce solution or whatever. But that's a function of people really understanding that outcome you provide and understanding what that outcome is worth. So what's great is that you don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to have a huge following. You don't have to have all these people that know who you are. It's just a real simple conversation. Hey man, you're stuck here and you want to get here. Great. Do you want me to help you with that? Cool. And it's a really, really easy decision.
Yeah, it's really simple. I mean, one of the things that I switched up, I would say about 18 months ago, was the types of content that I put out on social media, where I used to put out the flashy videos and a lot of the like you said, the flashiness, and I was getting a very particular audience. And it was the folks that didn't have any money. They aspired to be me and they wanted this funnel built, but they were just selling tchotchkes. Like that's not somebody that I really wanted to work with. I wanted to work with, purpose-driven brands, people that really wanted to change people's lives. right? In some way,
Right.
shape, or form. And so what I realized was I had the context wrong. I
Okay.
thought the flashiness was going to bring me the
Mhm.
high quality clients because the high quality clients have that stuff too.
Mhm.
I was sadly mistaken, right?
Mhm.
So what I started to do was very much like yourself, because I did a little audit of your website, and I said, this guy gets it, right? What I started to do was record everything. And I'm not
Mhm.
afraid of video. I absolutely love it. So I record everything, client calls and coaching and everything. And I take little snippets of those with permission, of course.
Mhm.
I take little snippets and I put that out there on social media. And I start to show my audience like how I actually work with my clients.
Right.
And this transparency came about. And that's when people started to look and say, huh, this guy actually is showing everything.
Yeah.
Which, to your point, trust, credibility, and reliability. I see what you do inside of your private Facebook group. You know, it's phenomenal. I mean, you bring these people out, you bring them on stage, and you show them and us how you've helped them. And I feel like the more people that will start to do that, I think it will bring the clowns, it will bring the clowns to bay. And eventually those clowns will not be around anymore because they can't keep up with us.
No, and I think you're right. I mean, I think that as time goes by, I think audiences are getting more cynical. They're getting more skeptical. And what's great about that is that who you are really tends to shine through. I mean, if you put that in your marketing and you are truly heart driven and you're truly focused on creating an amazing transformation for your clients, it's like people might not be able to sense that from the very first Facebook ad they see. But as they get to know you over time, it's going to become obvious that that's what you're about, you know? And what's really cool about this whole thing is that, you know, for a long time, I thought that if you wanted to build an 8-figure business, you know, you needed to have that kind of like flash and you needed to like, you know, hype it up and do all this stuff. And the God's honest truth is that you really don't, because all people want to know is what can you do for them? And are you for real? And if you can establish both of those things, it's like people feel like they're at home. They feel like they're in the right place. And what convinces them of that is your sincerity and your authenticity and demonstrating that you really understand exactly what they're going through and that you know the solution. And that's the main thing. And it's like, if you want to talk about what branding I think should be, it should really just be that. Like, so if you watch my webinars, right, you know, a lot of people talk about story and you see people tell stories and it's like, you know, they have some whole big involved story about this or that or some other thing. It's like, I don't really tell stories in my webinars at all. It's like, it's like, I don't even talk about myself, I should say. I mean, I spend 99% of my time just talking about the audience. Hey, here's what's going on with you. You know, here's what you did this morning. Here's what you're struggling with right now. Here's what you've tried. Here's what didn't work. You want to try this instead? And it creates such a more powerful connection because fundamentally people are concerned with themselves. You know, they're worried about their own problems. They don't want to hear about how great you're doing. It's like, who cares? You know? So, you know.
Yeah. No, I love it. You know, it's funny. I had this conversation with my video editor, and he wasn't too happy with me. But you know, I'll put it out there. So we were producing about 10 videos a week, you know, 2 a day. You know, IG story version, you know, the vertical version and the horizontal version, and you know, we were coming up with some really cool stuff. Most of it was teaching, so the content was good, but it was interesting that highly produced content was getting a third of the attention and viewership and engagement than me opening up my phone for a minute, just right. And so I told him, I said, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut you down to 3 videos a week. And yes, I want my YouTube stuff, you know, polished and engaging. But as far as the odds and ends stuff that you were doing, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to invest it in things that are going to help showcase the results that we get for our clients. And so what we started to do, very similar to you, Russ, on your site, is we have a case studies section and we highlight our clients and we showcase what their issues were, what the strategy was, what the solution is, and the results that they got. And that's a good use of your dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, people want to see what you could do for them, period.
Right.
So it's not about me with the flashy videos. Like my wife said, it called me out the other day. She was like, that's stroking your ego. It's not doing anything for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, damn.
True. I mean, maybe it can capture people's attention for like a fraction of a second. Like if you I don't know, if you do some video, we're driving like some really cool Aston Martin or something. I mean, that might make people go, ooh, what's this? But then right away, it's like, you gotta have something real to give them. And even then it's like, couldn't you capture their attention a better way by just talking about what they're most concerned about?
Well, one of my clients called me the king of common sense. And I started laughing because he was like, a lot of the stuff that you say is all common sense.
But it's not.
And I go, it is. Why don't more people use it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's because my opinion is that conventional wisdom is always wrong. So if you look at what everyone else is teaching, chances are it's not right. And like you said, it's common sense, but so few people think for themselves, and they're just sort of like, they take somebody's program and then just parrot, whatever that guy taught them, or whatever that gal taught them or whatever. But the number of people that are actually out there in the trenches spending money on advertising, testing this stuff over and over and over and over again is actually very, very few.
Yeah.
So most of the time what you're getting is, people just recycling information. I mean, I imagine it's like taking a martial arts class from a guy who's never been in a fight, and he's never been in a fight, and his master was never in a fight, and his master was never in a fight. And so it's like they're teaching you all this theory, but they've never gone out there and truly put it to the test. We spend millions of dollars every year on advertising and are constantly just testing what works and what doesn't work to try to break my own assumptions. I might believe something. We just did it this year, right? So our basic process for bringing new clients in the door, because we haven't really talked about this. Mm-hmm. Our basic process for bringing new clients in the door is really, really simple. It's ad, webinar, phone call. That's it. And that's all we've ever done. And that's the backbone of our business. So you see people running these really complicated funnels where it's like, okay, they click the ad and then they sign up for a free report. And then on the backside of that, you offer them that $7 tripwire, and then you upsell them this other thing, and then downsell them this and blah, blah. And then maybe eventually, like a year from now, you'll get around to offering them like the high ticket thing that they really need. But we got to warm them up first. Or these people that are like, hey, get somebody on your list and then warm them up for 6 months before you offer them something. We don't do any of that stuff. It's like you click on my ad, you watch a webinar. At the end of the webinar, we're going to give you the chance to get on the phone with us, and then we're enrolling people into our high ticket offers within 24 to 48 hours. So yeah, so it's like they don't even know who we are. They don't know who we are before we click on the ad. But if you have a webinar that's powerful enough, that's all you need. Yeah. That's all you need to create that connection. So a lot of people are thinking, well, you got to get them signed up to your blog and then feed them articles for a long time or feed them videos for a long time or nurture them and all this other stuff. And that's just not true. And I mean, and we've proven that it's not true in our business, where the vast majority of our enrollments happen within a couple of days of someone clicking on our ad for the first time.
So I know my audience is going to ask me, why didn't you ask Russ about the webinar and what actually goes into a webinar, right? Yeah. I know people that are petrified of creating a webinar for themselves. Meanwhile, if they did it, it could bring them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in revenues. But so in your opinion, Russ, what goes into a great webinar?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Okay. So and that's another thing where my sort of philosophy on this is a little bit different than other people's. A lot of people build, like I said, heavy story into their webinars, and there's nothing wrong with story. It's a powerful tool, but fundamentally the purpose of the webinar is to shift beliefs. It's not to teach, it's to shift beliefs. Because right now your audience has a problem, right? Whether, like I said, you're a fitness coach, they need to get in shape. You're a health coach and they've got, I don't know, autoimmune, or you're a relationship coach and, their marriage isn't working, whatever it is, they're a business coach, they don't have enough leads, whatever that problem is that you've solved, right? Your audience is dealing with that problem every single day, and they're suffering with that problem every single day. But as human beings, when we have a problem, It's very, very rare that we face that problem dead on. What we do instead is we build this little cocoon of excuses and rationalizations and BS around it, right? And I speak from experience on this, because another thing that happened to me over the last 10 years is when I stopped bartending and started working online, I probably gained like, I don't know, 80 pounds. And so I've lost like 70 of it since January 1st of this year, right?
Good for you.
Thanks, man. But the point I'm trying to make is like, I was so wrapped up in my rationalizations and BS. It's like, oh, it's not that bad, or oh, I'll lose the weight tomorrow, or I would do some crash diet and lose a bunch of weight and then gain it all back. It's just like, we've all done that, it's like we've all been there, And so fundamentally, the purpose of the webinar is to say, hey, look, here's what's really going on with you. Here's the problem. Here's what's going to happen if you don't fix it. And here's why the stuff you've tried in the past has failed you. And here's what you should do instead. And the more vividly you can do those things, the more you bring people to the sense of the truth, where they really come face to face and say, hey, you know what, man, this guy's right. If I don't do something about my marriage and I don't do it now, I'm going to have a problem. Let me reach out and let me see if these guys can help me fix this thing once and for all. And that's fundamentally what the webinar is about. And that's like, it's once people really realize this, it's very freeing, because you realize you don't really have to talk about yourself that much at all. You sure as hell don't have to teach a bunch of stuff. And what you really don't want to do, Henry, is give out Band-Aids where it's like, I'm going to give you 5 or 6 quick tips. And then your audience goes, cool, thanks for the tips. And then they take off and they think those 5 or 6 quick tips are going to undo like the 15 years they've spent getting into terrible shape or wrecking their marriage or whatever, just wrecking their business or whatever it is. So it's like, you just got to be real with people about what's really going on with them. And then once they see that, then reaching out to talk to you about fixing it is just a no-brainer decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it takes guys like us to really step up. And I feel like there's not enough folks out there, quite frankly, that are willing to step up and put in the work. I mean, I like what you said on your website. You said, and this is true. This is a true statement, because one of my clients said it to me not too long ago. You said, most consultants just don't care. Yeah. They just don't care. They're doing the bare minimum these days. And, I was talking to Jason Pfeiffer, he was on the show last week, the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine. Mm. And he was saying how that's going to put you out of business. Never mind, but they're taking people's money hand over fist. Mm-hmm. But what happens is they get left high and dry because they just don't care. It is cliche. You hear it 1,000 times. You show them how much you care and they'll cut you a check. I get that. But at the same time, like, you really got to put in this work. And like you, Russ, I was going through this. I was designing these brands for these people that looked like $1 million brands, but they weren't doing anything with them.
Yeah.
And it was so debilitating to me. I was taking it personal. Mm-hmm. And I finally said, I can't do this anymore. Like, I got to give them the strategy. I got to give them the support. I got to give them that friendship, mm-hmm. And that reliability that is going to last a lifetime. And what happened? Just like you, started working with less clients. Last year, I only worked with 8 clients. The year before that, I worked with 40.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, man, I got my life back. Mm-hmm. And I saw that. That's one thing one of your clients said was, the CEO Deprogram gave me my life back. And that's a powerful thing to say.
Because it just eliminates the unnecessary garbage, right? If you have an overly complicated funnel, you can probably let that go. If you're doing tons of content marketing, you can probably let that go. Yeah. If you've got 50 different offers, just have one, and then maybe like one back-end program. What about that?
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that, it's going back to what you said about people not caring. I mean, I think that what happens is people do care, but they structure their business in such a way that is not designed to really create results for people.
Yes.
It's designed to teach people how to do something. And that's a very different thing, because most of the time the problem is not information. I mean, like I told you, man, I was out of shape for like 10 years. Right there in that bookshelf, is like 50 different books about how to get in shape, right? Where if I had just picked one of them and just did everything it said, I wouldn't have had this problem, right? It's like,
Right.
Keto, low fat, it's like they all work. It's like, just friggin' pick one. The problem is that it's not that people don't know how, and maybe they don't, but ultimately that's not the problem. The problem is getting past all of the resistance and fear and self-doubt and self-sabotage and overwhelm that goes into actually making the decision to change your life. Yeah. And so what we do at Clients on Demand and what we teach our clients to do is to orient everything in their program around actually getting people the result. And sometimes that means pushing people way out of their comfort zone. Sometimes it means telling people what they don't want to hear. Sometimes it means giving them support, not just for like, how do I do this? But like, oh my God, Russ, I'm freaking out. What do I do? And what's great though, is that when you have a program like that, it's actually easier to deliver than something where you're trying to sell thousands of copies of something or teach, tons of people how to do something. So it really is about three things. It's about your income, it's about your freedom, and it's about your impact. And when you have a high ticket transformational program, you get to maximize all three. The income thing is obvious because at $5,000 per client, like I said, you only need 20 to get to $100,000 a year. The freedom thing, you could probably stop 90% of the marketing stuff you're doing now and just do ad, webinar, phone call. And then the impact thing, it's like now you're enrolling people into something that's truly transformational so you can actually see their life change, which is the most rewarding thing in the world. And the truth, Henry, is that like once you get to a certain income level, I mean, I would say once you get to maybe not 1 million, but like maybe a couple million, 2, 3 million, whatever, it just stops being about the money at all. And the money just becomes a way of sort of keeping score. Yep. The thing that gets you out of bed in the morning and the thing that you get addicted to is just watching your clients win and win and win and succeed and succeed and succeed. And fundamentally, that's what it should be about. And I feel like you've got a lot of consultants out there that they came into this thing caring, and then people weren't getting results. They couldn't enroll the right people. People weren't committed, and they just got jaded and then just said, hey, you know what, man, I don't think people really want to fix this. So let me just sell some ebooks or something and make some money. But there's a whole other higher level that your business could be operating on if you just made a few changes to your pricing, to your marketing, to whatever, and oriented everything around this idea of really getting people results. It's like, that's the secret. That's the passport to a 7-8 figure business where you still have freedom and you get to make a difference in the world.
I am so happy that you brought that up because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's all about creating that outcome and shifting their beliefs. And that's the one point that I want to bring up in the doc's prescription in today's episode is really paying attention to shifting the beliefs of the folks that you truly want to help and serve. So I'm a huge fan of the abolishment of complacency. One of my favorite movies of all times is The Bronx Tale. And,
I love that movie.
Right? And The Bronx Tale, it's the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. And I grew up with a lot of those guys. And I still see them today struggling because they think that where we grew up, it was it for them. And these guys were brilliant. But they just said, you know what? Nope, this is my destiny. This is my fate. This is where I'm staying. And I call bullshit on that. And, they see me and they always joke and they kid, but at the same time, they're like, shit, you did it. Like, or they say that you're doing it because I'm far from done, right? I'm trying to help other people understand that you can truly create and design the life that you truly want, just by committing to it.
Yep.
I didn't go to Spain, Italy, and France for 12 days by accident. Or somebody just didn't hand over a check and said, hey, Henry, we just covered you and your family and you guys get to go to Spain, Italy, and France. I busted my ass last year to make that happen. And when I experienced, to see my 2-year-old, running around, on the beaches of Italy and Marseille and just snapshotting those moments, I'm like, this is what it's about. It's about the freedom, but like you said, the impact, that's what really drives me as well. Listen, when you said, I got chills when you said, once you hit a certain mark, it's not about the money anymore. It's about seeing those results. I got chills because that's exactly sort of the phase that I went through end of last year and all of this year was that. And, I was very money driven back in the day. It was all about the money. It wasn't about anything else. Right. And like you said, money was there to keep score. But if I wasn't making money, then I sucked. I was awful. I was a fraud. I was the worst. Right. I shouldn't be doing this anymore. Right. But that's not the case. There's a mindset capacity to this, which I love because I see that you guys touch upon this in the COD program as well, where you got to get your mind right, and then that mindset is going to trigger that ability to think to myself, yes, I do deserve this. I'm not going to tolerate this nonsense that I dealt with, with poor clients or jumping through hoops of flames for people that didn't even appreciate what I was doing. Like that shit's for the birds, but that's the mindset stuff that you got to get through in order to make that happen. So I really want you guys to, this episode was jam packed, again, Russ, I appreciate you spending the time with us today, but shifting that belief, focus your energy and time on that and show them that there is a alternative. There is a way out. Right? There is an option, right? It's always you can make tomorrow better. You can, but you got to work at it. It's not just going to come by itself. So we get questions from the community all the time. And this one I thought was very, very relevant to today's topic of conversation. And so one of my Instagram followers asks, what's the biggest bottleneck you see with consultants today when it comes to growing their business?
Okay. I'll give you two because they're kind of very, very, very connected to one another. You kind of can't talk about one without talking about the other, right? So the first one is price. That's the first thing. That's the first thing is that if you're charging, a couple $100 or $1,000 or even $2,000, you are seriously underpricing your work. And especially if you're just kind of looking at what everyone else in your audience is doing and going, or in your marketplace is doing and going, okay, well, so-and-so's been around longer than I have and they're charging this. So I guess I can only charge this much, or so-and-so's got that beautiful website and my website's just okay. I guess I can only charge no. Price based on the outcome you deliver. Price based on the outcome you deliver. Like, what is that outcome and what is it worth to have? And then boom, that's your price. And so what that means for you guys is that that should be at least 3,000, if not 5 or 10 or 15. And if you need help charging that much, then reach out because we can help you do that. The second thing, so that's the first bottleneck. A second bottleneck, which is usually very, very connected to the first, is trading time for money, where you're charging by the hour or you're doing one-on-one mentoring or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but you've got to create some leverage in your business, because if you're, seeing clients one-on-one and you're charging, let's say, I don't know, $100 an hour or something, that's it. That's your income, right? You're booked 40 hours a week. So you're booked solid, can't take vacations, can't go anywhere, can't skip a day. You're booked solid 40 hours a week, making $100 an hour. That's $4,000 a week. That's $16,000 a month. That is the most you literally can ever earn.
Yeah.
And it's like that one decision completely determines your economic future, and you have no freedom. You're just like me when I was bartending, where I was working for tips. So if I decided to go on vacation, not only did it cost me whatever the vacation was going to cost, it cost me double for all the time I wasn't behind the bar making tips. That's not the world you want to live in as a coach or consultant. And if you're living in that world because you think it's the only way you can get people results, then you definitely need to talk to us, because you can create a leveraged group program that I swear to God will get better outcomes for your people than working with you one-on-one. And we've proven it 100,000 times all over the place in all kinds of different niches, in all kinds of different markets. You can have it all. You can have the income, you can have the freedom, and you can make a transformative impact in your clients' lives. You don't have to choose.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. With all that said, where could we send folks to learn more about the Clients on Demand program?
Well, the best thing to do is just to book a call and let's talk to us about this stuff. You can talk to us about what are you charging now? What do you want to be charging? Who are you working with now? Who do you want to be working with? And so our only requirement for who that's right for is you've got to have some legit expertise. And what I mean by that is you don't need to have a certification or letters after your name, but you do have to be able to solve a major life or business challenge. If right now you're, one of your listeners is like 17 years old, working at Pinkberry, hasn't really done anything. It's like, this probably isn't for you. You're probably not quite ready for this yet. Right. But if you have some real expertise, then we'd love to talk to you. And if you want to book a call with us, go to clientsondemand.com/call. clientsondemand.com/call. Book an appointment to talk to us, and we can help you figure out all this stuff from the ground up.
See how easy he makes this, guys? Just follow what he's doing and make it your own. Obviously, I don't want you to be copying anything, but /call. Like, it wasn't this long drawn out URL, like fancy call, right? Like, just pay attention to simplicity and watch what it does for your life, both personally and professionally, and start implementing some of this stuff, guys. And I'm a big fan, Russ. I really appreciate you jumping on and hanging out with us for 45 minutes today and just sharing with us your journey and some of the trials and tribulations you went through and how you got over that. And, your podcast is great. The Clients on Demand podcast. I'm a fan of that. And so, guys, go check out that podcast as well. Really, really good stuff over there. And again, dude, I appreciate you for jumping on and just sharing your wisdom with us.
Of course, man. It's my pleasure. I mean, that's what we're here to do. So any opportunity I get to do it, I'm all over it.
Awesome, man. Well, there you have it, guys. Another episode in the books. So head over to clientsondemand.com/call. And before you do that, though, make sure that you have some sort of skill set, some sort of form of expertise before you do that, because you might be jumping in a little prematurely if not. So with all that said, guys, real quick, I do have cousin Dion's calling. He's ready for lunch. So I got to get rocking here. For those folks that are interested in my free training, I do a free live training every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern. All you need to do is go to www.uniquedesigns.com/brand audits and sign up every Wednesday. We have about 20, 30 people. I pick 3 people and we go over their websites, their sales funnels, their social media identities, and we really help them sort of get it cleaned up. There's a lot of junk going on. And what we try to do on these calls is help you minimize and make it more simplistic so that you can start generating more leads and more sales for your business. So head over there right now. I'll also leave the link in the show notes and description. So there you have it, guys. Hope you have an amazing day and hope you got some nuggets that you could start executing immediately with the information that was given today. So have an amazing day, guys, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Take care.